All right, and we're back. So, hi, guys, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. All right, great. Okay, so let me try sharing my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen before I begin anything so that you're not being left behind. And I hope you all on YouTube can also see and hear me as well. Can you see my screen? I need feedback, please. My screen isn't showing.
I can see the screen on the television though.
Is this what you're seeing?
Yeah, I'm seeing your screen from like through your camera, but not on call.
I'm not entirely sure why. Is it possible that you guys connect on YouTube?
Okay.
I think that would be best. Has any difference been made? No difference.
Yeah.
All right. I think you should all just join from the
Okay,
YouTube.
okay. Yeah, I can see your screen. I can see your screen.
Okay. Ah, it's not Michi. Okay. Okay, no Allah. Okay. I'm not hearing myself. Okay, no problem. That's fine. But you can hear me clearly, can't you? All right. Okay, no problem. No problem. I can continue. Let me just minimize you guys as much as possible. And we're all good. All right, so we're back. And I was saying that the last thing we're going to talk about here is to think like a web application tester. What type of applications does our system trust? What kind of inputs can I control? What kind of inputs can I give, inputs into? Where does my inputs go? Can I modify an identifier? Can I alter the requests? Over here we have, does the server enforce authorization? If I were to add one more, I would say, does it enforce verification and validation? What happens with unexpected inputs? Can I change the application's logic? What evidence proves that there is a vulnerability? Things like this make you start thinking like an attacker. Of course, there are a lot more questions you would ask yourself. But before we even get to the kind of questions you would ask yourself, let's start with our practical aspect of this class. And I know that's what a lot of people are most interested in. So let's get right into it. If you give me 1 second. We're back, and I just want to connect my mouse so that everything is set in stone for what we have to do next. All right. Let me escape from here. All right, you guys can still see my screen, can't you?
Yeah.
All right.
See your screen.
Thank you. So I'm gonna open my virtual box as normal. But this time I don't need cold box. So what I'm going to do is to open up only my Kali. My Kali is currently, let me check the network it's on. Just want to be sure that I'm doing the right thing. I'm on bridge. At this point, it's actually very okay if you're on either bridge NAT or host only, but it's most advised to be on bridge. Especially since we're trying to use it's most advised to be on NAT if you're not really doing anything with it. If you're on bridge, it means you're trying to connect, more openly with other systems. So what we're going to be doing today is to be looking at a system called Vuln Bank, VULN Bank. Let me stand up before the Kali Linux is able to open, right? So Vuln Bank is an intentionally vulnerable bank organization, it's .org, so it's an intentionally vulnerable bank that we as pen test beginners can be able to exploit all sorts of things. And because it's intentionally vulnerable, there's a lot to look at. A lot of things that in a banking system and in some other systems, you might be able to find vulnerabilities that typically should not be available. And within that, we'll be able to look into stuff like authentication and authorization, hacking. We'll look into burp suits. We'll look into how we can use burp suit to intercept this information, repeat certain information, intrude into places we should not be able to get access to, maybe even get admin privileges. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Right here, we're going to go through some web application techniques for hacking web apps. And it's something you can follow me as we do it. Hang on a second. Let me just push you guys to the side. Yeah. Can you still see me? Can you still see my screen?
Yes, you can see it. Your Kali is loading.
Yes, okay. I just want to make sure because I just hid that thing and I don't want it to be that, okay, after hiding it now, everything has gone local. All right. I wish this would load any faster. Okay. Close to being completely on. All right. Should be here now. So I'll put in my password as normal, Kali, Kali, Kali for my password. I'll log in. All right. So this Vuln Bank was built by Commando X on GitHub. He made a whole repository about it. He made even a web application for it. He made even a mobile app application for it in case you were interested in hacking and learning how to hack mobile application services, but that's not what we're interested in today. Our main focus is web applications. So the first thing we will do, I'm opening up my terminal, and at the same time, I'm opening up my browser. Let's see them load up. Terminal is up. Let me make that big. All right. Browser, browser, browser. All right. So, make it big, beautiful. My processor is running a lot right now. But let's begin. From here now, I want you to first see what Vom Bank looks like before we get into the actual exploitation of it. So I'm just going to search vonbank.org. Let's see what we get. And while this is loading up, I'm going to go and search for the GitHub repository for Von Bank, because we are going to actually be doing this locally on our system. So Von Bank GitHub. But I want you to take a look at what the system looks like very normally. They were just telling me down here that, oh, don't put any real information. We have Von Bank. Let me see if I can increase this. Increase it one more time. Banking made simple and insecure. This is an intentionally vulnerable application built to practice and teach application security testing and to help security testers and tool companies benchmark traditional tools and offensive security AI agents. I can simply decide to register. Let's see what registration looks like. Obviously, registering is like signing up. So with the registering, let's choose a username. Let me pick a username. I like this cartoon, so I'm going to use this cartoon. Steven. Then I'm going to use Universe. Steven Universe. Create an account. I don't want to save the password. But anyways, registration successful. Proceed to login. And now they've taken me to the login page over here. So I'm going to use that same information there. Steven, no space. Steven, then Universe. Let's sign in and see what we see. Mind you, right now we are moving as a normal user. We're not doing anything vulnerable. We're just trying to see what a normal user would see. You come in and then you see your profile information. You have an available balance. You have an account number over here. Our available balance is $1,000, which is crazy. If somebody can give me $1,000, I'll be very happy. But we have $1,000 by default. There's a quick transfer, send money instantly. We can create virtual cards, which is to manage your cards. This is all in profile. If you go to money transfer, that will be a bit down. So let's go back to profile and see what else we can see. There's to send money. You can request a loan, virtual cards, pay bills. You can even update your profile, add a profile photo, your bio information, add some more bio. And then look at this now. Tell us about yourself. HTML tags are supported. That already looks very suspicious. But I don't want to seem like an attacker right now. I just want to, go through the system as normal. Over down here, I see chat with supports. This is an AI support system. There's an authenticated method, and there's even anonymous. So I can understand that, okay, there's some AI hacking that we could also get into over here. I don't know if we'll be able to be permitted by time, but I want you to note that my teaching of the class isn't a limiter to the type of things you can do with this particular web page. You can go ahead, find more exploits that you can on your own time at your own space. If you go over to money transfer, that's here. You can transfer money to someone. You add an account number, put in an amount, maybe a description if you want to, then you send the money. Okay. You request for a loan, put in your loan amount, and then you submit a request. Okay. There's a transaction history to be found. There are virtual cards. You can create a new card. I don't know if I want to create one right now, but yeah. You can also make bill payments. You can pay for your bills. But let's click this. Let's see what we even see here. Under your bills, you see utilities, telecom, insurance, credit cards, normal bill informations that we would see in typical situations. I think that's all we have here. But all we see is main, and then we see activity, and right now we are in dashboard transfer. I want to take this as though I have not ever done this before, but I am someone with a cybersecurity attacking mindset. So permit me if I pretend like as if I don't know what to do next, right? All right. So we've seen what the system looks like, but I want to host it locally on my system so that we can use things like Burp Suite, which comes readily installed on your Kali. And we're going to come over here to this Commando X. I told you it was made by Commando X. One back. Click this. Let's load real quick. This internet. Let me see where I'm connected to. All right, I'm thinking of changing my network because it's moving very, very, very slowly. So for those of you on the Google Meet call, let me know if you can't see my screen for any period of time. Are you still with me? Hello? Hello?
I can see your screen.
Okay, you can still see it. All right, great. So, yeah, we have our vulnerable application over here. The application is intentionally vulnerable for only educational purposes in an isolated environment, which is why we are using the GitHub page to load it up. So let's move down. We can see the type of issues we can find here. The implemented vulnerabilities are limitless in a sense. If I wanted to count these things now, it might be over 50, right? Over 50, the issues that this system has. And again, you can go on your own and check out what you can do. But I'll be able to get a little bit far during the class. First thing we're going to do is to clone this repository onto our system. So we'll copy this code, come over here, then we're gonna paste that code, Ctrl+Shift+V, right? I've already done this before, so I don't know if it's going to allow me to do it once more, right? But if I click enter, it said that it already exists. If you click enter, it might take some time, but it shouldn't take you anything more than 3 to 5 minutes. It's something very short, very simple, right? And yeah, it already exists for me. But you copy that first code, which is to clone that repository into your system, and cloning is just bringing it down, right? After copying it, what is this? Close this. After copying it, the next thing I want to do is to build it up. This might take a little more time, but you copy it, paste it in your, your terminal, click enter, right? It's unable to because I didn't add sudo information. Typically in your terminal, anytime you see permission denied, it's a sudo issue. You need super user access. So you do sudo, then that thing you wanted to do, right? So sudo docker compose up -d --build. You click enter, paste in your password, enter. Now I know some people would come back and meet me and be like, hey Olivia, if I try docker compose, it's going to tell me docker compose does not exist. So what you would have to do for that case, I don't know how this thing is doing this because I've already built this before. What you would have, okay, boom, it has moved in very quickly. What you would do if you do not have Docker Compose, right? Let me open a new tab so I'll show you what to do in the case of not having Docker Compose. Is sudo apt install docker.io space docker dash compose. We install these two together. You are using the sudo and an installer to install this information and also this one. Once you do this, you click enter, it installs it for you. I know if I click enter, it will ask me for my password. Then from there, to tell me it already has it. You get some of the most recent version, right? So there's nothing is upgrading and or installing, but for you, it might take a little bit more time because you might not have the Docker or the Docker IO or whatsoever. And then after you do that, you then do sudo system ctl enable. Yeah, enable. That's how I spell enable now, right? Dash now docker, right? You click enter, then it enables your Docker for you. Once you've enabled your Docker, from now you can even check the Docker version you have. Docker dash version, right? You check it, tells you your Docker version. You come back up here, you check Docker dash compose. Yes, dash version. Tells you the Docker compose version you are running. And then if you wanted to check the status, that's if it's up and running, instead of this dash now, you take this out and do status. Remember, the class is being recorded, so all this information will be available to you later. Once I see status and then I see this active running, I know I have Docker Compose enabled. I'm going to do Control-C to close out all this information because I don't need more. But after all of this, I know, okay, yes, my Docker is running, my Docker Compose is up. Then you can come back to this information that we did here where we did Docker, that's after the git clone, Docker Compose, or actually sudo Docker Compose up -d --build. It builds it for you. And after building, right, the next thing to do is to run the system that you have, right? We're going to do sudo Docker Compose up -d. I like using -d because I don't like the other information that it uses without the -d, but you can choose to leave it out as well. You can just do sudo docker compose up. So for purposes of this class, I'm just going to leave it as sudo docker -compose up. And this means that any information that comes attached to this, Docker will be coming down here. And the thing is, right now, we don't know the IP address that we're using, but we installed it as a Docker system we installed it as a Docker instance on our system. So that means it is using our loopback address. And I briefly mentioned loopback in our last class, but loopback is basically your system saying, look at it even over here. This is the IP address. Loopback is basically saying, use the front door of my house and go outside. It's my own house, so I will use my front door of my house, go outside, and then come back in through my back door. I'm still in my house. So I'm going to use this loopback address, and the loopback address is the same for everyone. So I'm going to copy that, Ctrl-Shift-C, go to our browser, and instead of the way we had done before where we did vonbank.org, which I'm going to close out now, and even this GitHub page, because we no longer need it, I'm going to come here and paste that loopback address. Click enter. It puts the HTTP for me by default. And if you can already see, we are already in vonbank, meaning that we now have access into a separate system of vonbank that is specific to our own system. This is what we saw earlier. This isn't a real bank. vonbank was built with intentional security flaws. Don't use any real passwords or personal information. Very important. Got it. Now, as normal, I want us to use our systems here to attack these. But before we go any further, especially since we've already seen what the system looks like on a very normal, run through, what am I going to do? I'm going to start using Vormbank from a different side of things. What am I going to write? Burp Suite. Burp Suite is an interception device that is very much interested in helping you check out information that's coming from traffic, be able to pause the information, change the information, manipulate it, delete stuff, add things, create stuff. There's a lot you can do with Burp Suite, but we'll get into the actual information we can use Burp Suite to do. So let it load up in a bit. And before it even continues to load up, I want to do something that would help you as a penetration tester, which is where I'm going to add my notepad, right? You may ask, what's the notepad for? I want us to be able to briefly document the information that we can get with notepad. Too much information here. I want us to be able to briefly document the information that we can get with notepad. So what we do, we're just going to write Vormbank exploits. Gives you a brief understanding of how documentation processes occur and how best you can do your things. Obviously, if you open your Burp Suite, they give you some default data, and I'm just going to keep it as temporary projects in memory, start Burp Suite, and move on. If you're following me from your systems, you should be able to be anywhere, somewhere close to where I am, unless maybe you're still waiting for your Docker to load up or your Vormbank to get into your system. So let's move on. I wish this would move any faster. All right. Okay, let's give it a few seconds. Okay. Okay. So we're in, right? We have our Burp Suite up and running. Let me make it as big as possible. And before we even go anywhere, I'm pretty sure this is very small for those of you looking at it from here. So I'm just going to go with the user interface and increase the size. Display, font size, let's make it 17 or 16. I think 17 should be good. Okay, 16 is fine. Right? That's much bigger. This is typically how your Burp Suite comes out. You're at your dashboard, but most of what we're going to be using is between proxy, intruder, repeater, and maybe some extensions in some broader cases. But I'm going to start off with our proxy. When you come into proxy, there are other things underneath it, such as intercepts and HTTP history. Intercept helps you block out services and things that occur on your system, and then HTTP history is giving you information about what is happening exactly on your web browser. So let's open up our browser and begin our exploits for this system. The browser that we're opening right now is not the same browser as the one we had seen before, but rather it's a browser that is directly communicating with Burp Suite. So any information that is happening on that browser is coming straight here to either be intercepted, intruded into, repeated, or intercepted. One way or the other. All right. I want to move this to the side. Yeah, so that we have this on one side and then this on the other side. All right. So I'll put in that same IP address, 127.0.0.1. Enter that. We already see a history information from here. If I click this, this is where we start to see those responses and requests that I had spoken about earlier, right? Where, look at the request here. If you look well into it, you see a GET request over here. And this GET request now is getting an HTTP from a version 1.1 with this host address, with some other random information. What's the platform you're using? What kind of information is it getting? Connection, it's alive, and so on and so forth. And after we requested to get this information, a response was sent to us that yes, the HTTP that we were requesting said, okay, I will give you the information you want. And what did it give us? It gave us this web page. The web page is being clearly defined here based on a CSS and HTML files. But that's pretty long and we're not into software engineering. So what we want to do first off is to just register and even just create an account and see what kind of information we get here in terms of get, post, and thereabouts. We used Steven Universe before, but I don't want to use that again. I want to use, someone give me a cartoon that they've watched from somewhere. I used Adventure Time before. I don't want to use Adventure Time again. Bleach. All right. Bleach. Give me a different name from Bleach. I'll put Naruto here. Naruto. I know these are two different animes, but it doesn't really matter. I just want to put anime characters now. So Bleach is the username and Naruto is the password. Let me write that again. Naruto. All right. So if I create an account, we get a post request, which is different from what we had seen before, right? We got a get before. We got a get register. When we click that register button, when we did that, the request we sent out was give me the register page, get/register HTTP. The response we got was, well, the HTTP said, yes, you can have it. For the post, however, right, we requested for the posting towards the register. We gave it a username of Bleach and a password of Naruto. And we can even clearly see the username and the password over here in, Burp Suite. And then the response was, well, as you are Bleach Naruto, this is your account number. This is your balance. These are the fields that you have registered, which are your username, your password, your account number. Are you an admin? No, you are not, right? Raw data includes your password and username, the time you did it, the server information, so on and so forth. So let's try logging in as normal. So we have Bleach as our username and our password is what? Naruto. It's signing me in. And just as we had seen before, right? We still see the same type of information, which is why I decided to do it earlier, where we have profile, the information you have typically available to you, your money transfers, loans, transactions, virtual cards, and bill payments. But moreover, I want us to notice that with that first information we had been given, it took any type of password. Naruto is only Naruto. And based on compliance, based on the type of passwords we should be able to give a system, it should be at least 8 characters if you're trying not to get hacked. So why don't we try to reference some of the SQLi information I'd given you before with the comma or 1 is equals to 1 hashtag, why don't we try doing something like that in our system before we open it up first off? I want us to see as many things as we can do in the authentication part before we can even come into the system. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open a new tab and open up the same system again. I'll open up 127.0.0.1. Let me scroll down to the bottom. See if we can register again. And now we'll use a different username and password. So here we're going to use Sasuke, and then the password is going to be Goku. But what do I want to do before I do this? I want to intercept this data. I want to stop it before it gives it to the server, right? So I'm going to shift from HTTP to intercepts, and then I'll turn on my intercept. Now, one thing to always note is that this intercept can be very, very annoying if you're trying to do other things and forget to turn off your intercept, because intercept will stop every single thing that is passing through your browser, right? Whether it's a GET request, a POST request, or anything else, it is very important to note that your intercept will stop it for you to come and check it. And a lot of the times we find that us as cybersecurity individuals might have forgotten that our intercept is on, and then we're like, oh, I don't understand why my system is not working. Go first check whether your intercept is still on. Do you understand? So I turn on my intercepts. I decide to create this account. Let's see what happens. As I said, it stopped here. Now I want to actively try to hack this with what we had gotten before. What I'm going to do now is to send this by right-clicking in a white space and send it to the intruder. Is it an intruder? Yeah, the intruder showed me a yellow, right? I send it to an intruder. The intruder is very much focused on actively passing through 1 or 2 spaces or 3 or however many you want, passing through one particular space and then changing out the information that is there. And then for every information it changes, it gets a different response from the system. If the response is a 200 okay, that means the system allowed it. If the response is a 401, that means the system said that thing you're trying to do, don't try it again. Do you understand? So we are now trying to see whether instead of this Sasuke, we're going to add a payload position here, over here at add. Some systems might have it differently where it's position and then payload, but just note that once you highlight the thing you're trying to do, you click add, and then your payloads will be available to you. We're going to take out that Sasuke and then put in payloads here. What type of payloads are we going to put? Things like what I had shown you earlier with the SQLI injection. We're trying to see whether SQLI is available as an attack method. But for me to know what type of information that I'm going to substitute Sasuke for, I'm going to go back to my main browser and search up for something. What am I going to search up for? I'm going to search up SQL injection payloads, payload, Morkev. I've gone ahead and done this before. So I know that Morkev already has the type of information I need for this class. So I'm going to click enter. He has them all in, in a word list type of thing where I can just copy it out and send it over to where I need it to be. And this is this him? This one, Morkev. Let me see. This him. It's not. Let me come here and check GitHub. This is the one I want, right? SQL injection payload. So let me open this in a new tab. Open link in new tab. Yeah, load up really quick. All right. As I said, I was looking for one that's like a word list so I can copy it and send it back to my intruder. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look for the ones that look most likely to be, susceptible to the system. And instead of just copying everything, I have an idea of what these things can look like. And I know that these ones, just like I had shown you before, with that comma or something, 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 I want to try some of these out. Let me copy these. I even like these ones at the bottom, so I think I'll copy them as well. Just copy these all the way up to here. What's going on? Sorry, my system was glitching for a second there. I think I like all of these. I'm just going to scroll back up. All right, I don't care about those first few. They don't seem very important to me. So I'm just going to Ctrl-C them, go back to my burp suits, and then paste these out here as my payloads. So you see them all here. Currently, I have 109 payloads and request counts. So what I'm going to do now, very important, is to turn off this URL encoding. Why? Because all these quotation marks, apostrophes, ampersands, and everything else, hashtags, dashes, everything, if this thing is turned on, then it's not going to allow them go through as we normally want them to. So what we're going to do is turn this off and then start our attack. When we start our attack, what it's going to do is take out Sasuke and put in all of this information. For every single one of the information, what we're going to get is this, a status code. Any status code that is 200 means that the system accepted it. And for example, this first one, the system accepted dash dash or hashtag. That means if we put instead of Sasuke in our main system, right, and put dash dash or hashtag, we should be able to get whatever response comes under this. And with us scrolling down, we change the username to this. What are we getting? We get account information. We get false. We get Goku's password, right? We get Goku's information. Registration is successful. And I want to see all the ones that are currently 200. Look at this. Another one. Scroll down a bit. We're still getting information about Goku. Let's see. Okay. I wanted to finish completely before we're able to see really what else we can acquire from this. We're moving on. Okay. Is it done? It's not yet done. All of these with the status code of 200 means it worked. So we've gone through all of these normal ones, and all we're seeing is admin is equals to false, and then the password is Goku. But I want to see from this admin points over here. Still Goku. Check. 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 All right, we're almost done. We're almost done. We're almost done. Just like 3 more to go. After those 3 more, we'll be able to test some of these things and see what happened to our system. And now we're done. Beautiful. So everything from here upwards works. Meaning that if I copied any of these, let me copy this for example. If I want to copy, I'll just come down here, chill. If I copy this, in between those double quotations, Ctrl C, excuse you, Ctrl C, went back to our browser. Where is it? Here it is. And instead of Sasuke, I'll paste this. Oops, sorry. Wait, no, I'm just going to remove this aspect of it. Right? If I pasted this, being that the system says that admin like this would work, and I even decided to change the password. Let me change it to Olivia. And I created an account. System should accept me. Oh, okay, sorry, we're in the register aspect of this. Let us sign in. Let's sign in. The sign-in is taking forever, so we'll come back to that in a bit. Let's go back to the normal user that we had before that one is able to completely log in, get to the login page. And as a normal bank should be able to work, we can transfer money, can't we? So let's scroll down a bit and then get to this money transfer aspect while this is still loading. With the money transfer now, I would have to send it to someone else's account number. So what I'm going to do is to duplicate this for one. Oh no, my internet is misbehaving. But we'll duplicate this and I'm going to create a new user that I can send money towards. I don't know why the internet is misbehaving right now. I already have an account. Sign in. Dashboard. Everything is loading pretty slowly. That's what I'm wondering. Internet is misbehaving. I don't know if I should switch back to the other one I was using before. Let me switch back to the other internet. It's not even showing. Oh, Jesus. Oh. It's nearly 3. Let's see if we're going to be able to get this to move any quicker than normal. It's not working favorably right now. Oh Lord. I mean, okay. So what I'm trying to get us to do right now is to get someone else's bank account, which we'll create a new account for, get their account number, and then give them money, right? And then we'll send the money. We can even add a sweet note, maybe, oh, hi, I love you, send the money over to them. They get the money, we're able to intercept the information that's coming in, and then with that information we're sending, we want to be able to tweak the amounts that's there, right? Because there's a lot of things that we can do there. But I want to show you this practically, which is why it's annoying me right now. I'm so sorry for this internet connection. I know it's coming up clearly with the YouTube and the Google Meets, right? But for some reason, my system isn't completely collecting this information. So I'm thinking because this is giving me a hard time, maybe we should go on our break now because we typically have our break by 3. Maybe we should go on our break now, 15 minutes break, and then most definitely by the time we're back from the break, we would be able to reconnect the whole internet thing and have everything moving as smoothly and as sailingly as we need it to. So our break will begin now. The last time wasn't a break, just so you know. This one is the proper break. So for those of you on the classroom, you've been able to see my recording the whole time, haven't you? All right. Let me turn on everything again. We've begun our class again. So I'm going to start sharing my screen over here. Let me know if you can see my screen out on the class. Wait, hold up. Let me do that again. Share screen. Turn on. Share. Hi, for those of you on the Meet, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. So we're continuing with where we stopped. And from where we stopped, we were trying to use one of the informations we had gotten from that intruder attack to see whether we can, exploit our current system. So I decided, okay, let's pick this. Let's pick any of them that have this 200 status code. Any of them that had this 200 status code, we'll just pick it and then put it into our system, right? I'll click it, I'll scroll down, I'm just gonna copy this portion of it, Control C, come over here, Control V, and I can put in any password and see what type of information we're able to get based on this. Okay, user already created, yes, you already have an account signed in. This was where we were at. So I'm gonna put that same information over here, put in any information, sign in, login failed. All right, so let's see where that information of login failed is coming from. I'm gonna close this out and see what else we can get. Discard this wholly. Okay, see where the problem is coming from. When we registered in the first place, right? Yes, not here. Request rather. Register post. We gave it bleach and Naruto. So I'm gonna go back to intercept and turn on my intercept again. We're gonna do the same thing as we did before, bleach, Naruto, and then as we're doing that, we're gonna get some other things up and running. Naruto, we're gonna sign in because these are informations that can be accessed with our system. After we have gotten this information, we're gonna forward it to our system. When we forward it, we get a new request, right? Forward that again. We're done with that information. Of course, at this point, I'm going to turn off my intercepts, go back to HTTP history, and then get that information. Where do we get it? We get it from over here at the login page. Over here, I can right-click, send it to the intruder, which is what we were initially doing. As I send it to the intruder, I'm going to come here, copy all the information from my username, put a payload system over here. Over here, I remember that we had gotten payload information from here, so I'm just going to copy that information over at SQL vulnerabilities by Morkev. Come over here, paste that information. And as I'm pasting it, we'll go back down, turn off our URL encoding, and then start the attack. I just want to show you a brief of what we had just done. So we were here. All right, beautiful. So while this is loading up, I want us to look at a different exploit because a specific exploit is supposed to come out from here, and I'm gonna set up all the status codes to be filtered to only 200 to be at the top, and then the ones that are unuseful should be at the bottom. Leave this here, no thanks. I'm gonna go back to my pursuits. And while this is happening, I said that I wanted us to create a new user, a new user that we can transfer money to. So what am I going to do? I'm going to come here and do 127.0.0.1. Click enter. Create a new user. And it was around this side that we were getting some issues. But as of right now, we shouldn't be able to get those same kind of issues. register. While we're registering, I'm just going to pick a different set of names. Give me a name. Any name that comes to your head. Rejoice. Okay, rejoice. And as he said rejoice, I'm gonna say praise. Right? Praise is the password. Let me write it again just so I'm sure. Praise. Praise. Rejoice praise. We've created her account. Then we're being sent to the login page over here. So we'll go for rejoice. Sorry, no space. Rejoice. Praise. Rejoice praise. Praise. All right. So now that we have two accounts, I want to put them side by side just so that we have them working properly. We see that Rejoice has a different account number from the account number that Bleach has. With this information in mind, let's go back to our proxy. While this is still running, I'm not sure. It should have... Okay, well, that was unexpected. Let's go back, unleash that. Yeah, Nisha, so that we can, work with the information that second attack is still running. I want it to finish running before we can, touch on what's going on there. But with that, I want us to send money from Bleach to Rejoice. How are we going to do that? We're just going to do our normal bank thing. So I'm going to copy Rejoice's account number and paste it over here. Rejoice's account number is 96314053007. Copy this account number, paste it over here, right? How much do you want to send Rejoice? I only have 1,000, so I'm going to send 100. And I'm going to say, oh, Rejoice, I love you. Send $100. Wow, don't I love her? They said the transfer is failed, undefined. All right. Beautiful. Isn't that just lovely? Rejoice. Rejoice. Praise. Sign in. We have the recipient's number here. Copy that number again. Even though the same number, paste it over here. We have $100 that we want to send to Rejoice, and we're going to send on money to her. And then we see a transfer successful. Beautiful. So that means we now have $900 in our account. And how much does Rejoice have? Rejoice, if we reload this page, should have $1,100. If Rejoice should have $1,100. Isn't that just lovely? And we're not seeing it reflecting. Yeah. Oh, Intercept is off, so I understand why Rejoice is not receiving my money. Anyways, we've been debited one way or the other, right? Beautiful. So what I really wanted to show you wasn't the fact that we actually sent the money to Rejoice, but rather the fact that, well, if I now did minus, where's my minus button? Over here, if I did minus 100, in fact, let's not even do minus 100, let's do minus 500. You can say give me back. I hate you. But let's see what happens. Oh, transfer successful. But what do we see in our account? We have 500 extra, which is a vulnerability we should typically not be able to have. Now look at it over here. we have our requests with this token, and our response comes back as a success. But let's look at the posts, right? We requested for -500. We gave it a description with our account number, or rather to the account number that we're sending it to, and then it gave us a response of a new balance and then our transfer message. So now I'm thinking, okay, wow, if negative balance, or rather negative transfers, are accepted in this system, that's a wrong thing to be able to do. Do you understand? So what do I want to do? I'm going to come over to my system, look for my snipping tool. Screenshot this, right? Copy that screenshot and then take it to my file, my vulnerable exploits that I had created a file for earlier. I'm just teaching you how natural and typical penetration testers just keep notes of things before they make it in proper documentations, just so they don't forget anything as they move along with their exploits. So the first thing I'm going to say is negative balance accepted. Yeah, right? I'll paste that in. That's that picture. Okay, pictures aren't allowed here in this thing. So what I will do rather is just open a Word document. Let me open a Word document so it's just much easier for all of us. Paste that over here. Come back up. Come back here. Go back to our notepad. Get this information. Go back to Word. Paste that information. Negative balance was accepted, and I have my screenshots there to prove that a negative balance was accepted. So in light of that, I also want to be able to show that a successful response was given. But before I even show that, let's increase the money that we give to them, right? What I want to do is to send it to my repeater, or yeah, send it to my repeater. My repeater gets the information. You see with this orange light over here, come over here and say, in fact, don't give me -1,500, give me -1,500. Send it. What happens? A response is sent to me. It says insufficient fund. I said, okay, no problem. Give me -1,400. Send it. Insufficient fund. All right, let's try that again. Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. -500 baht. Let's do -600. Send. See what happens. Transfer successfully completed. -700. What happens? Transfer completed. All right. Now we can easily complete this information. If I reload this page, I should be able to see that 700 has been sent. If it's not sent, we can even do it straight from the browser. This is the other browser that's supposed to have even been collecting all this negative cash that we were sending, but I don't know why it's not collecting it. Anyways, it's a vulnerable site, so a lot of this information isn't fully collected and or documented. Give it 6 minus, how much do I have in my account? 1,000. Let's do -1,000. It's not being fully accepted by the system. Transfer is successful. I now have -2,000. If I do -2,000, I do -2,000. 1, 2, 3. -2,000. Send the money. Transfer is completed. That means I should have 4,000 up here. Wow. Do you understand? These are not things that I should typically have access to. So I'm just going to take another screenshot again for the whole negative balance information. And then over here, let me just give you a bit of space. Over here, I'll put another screenshot again of the information I put. How much do we have in our accounts right now? We have $4,000. Okay, so let's put 1, 2, 3. Let's put minus 4,000, right? Based on the the patterns we've already noticed, we know that if I try out this minus 4,000, I should be able to get minus 8,000 right now. So I'm gonna go back to my Word document and just paste that over there, and then putting a negative transfer amount results in increase of to them, but I would have this in place so that when it's ready, and as you see our 8,000 is there, it's ready to see, it is ready to see. Okay, now our welcome back space is back, and we were showing something. I was showing you guys something earlier where we were actively trying to breach the system. And with breaching the system, we had done some very, very funny things. Now, earlier we weren't seeing admin 001 because look, even from the first space, I see admin 001 as the account number. And then now I'm seeing is admin is true. The reason is because before we were on the register page. Now we were trying this on the log, we were posting this information, this payload on our, we are now posting this information on our login page. And posting this information on our login page gave us access to certified users that we should not in any way, form, shape, or matter be able to get access to. So I'm just going to take the first one, copy the information that's over in the double quotation marks, copy it, paste it over here, and see whether we are able to get access into this admin 001's information. I'll put any password. I'm just going to run my hand through my keyboard and I'll sign in and see what I can get. And wow, I'm already getting a dashboard value. I'm already getting a dashboard value. And wow, I have, no thanks, I have $1 million in my bank account for no reason. And why am I getting that $1 million in my bank account? Is because I am currently an admin. If you look up here, they're saying welcome back admin. But I wasn't trying to sign up as admin. In fact, what I did was comma or true dash dash. How am I now in the admin panel? This is where we can now note our second vulnerability that we have found in VonBank. What do we do? Okay, sorry, not here. What do? We screenshot this. Come over here, screenshot this. What do I write for it? I'm going to copy it first. Go back to my Word document. Write that, excuse you, sir. Write that authentication vulnerable to SQLi injection, SQLi commands, because what we were able to put out there was an SQLi command. Which command did we put? It was this one in particular, and if I was able to zoom in a bit, let me zoom in. Yeah, I'm able to zoom in a bit. What we see is over here the command that we had put. We put it, and what were we able to get? Admin privileges. I actually think I put it in the wrong space. Wait, okay. Yeah, all right. Hello? Someone trying to ask me a question? All right. So now that we've also been able to find out, as well as also notice the negative balance accepted, and also the authentication is vulnerable to SQLi commands, and being able to access, well, let me write that down here, admin panel accessible, right? Now that we've been able to notice these type of vulnerabilities, let's find out what other things we can do. And mind you, let me go back to what we were doing earlier. We're done with this, so we can close this out, discard, right? Back in our proxy, if we go back and check this minus 500, right? You know, we had tried 500, we had tried 600, we had tried 700, and it works out for us. So let's see what else again we can try. Let me do this one more time so we can see the record come out on our our system. We'll still come back to the whole admin thing later, but let me try one more time. I'm gonna do 1, 2, and then put a value of minus 8,000. Keep a note of wow, right? And then I'm gonna turn on my intercepts one more time because I want to see this information get here, send it to my repeater so I can continuously keep doing this, right? So I'm gonna send the money, my repeater collects this information, I'll right click and send it to my repeater. My repeater has gotten the information. From here now, I can change the information that's coming in and out. But before I do any of that, I want to come back here and turn off my, my intercept because this intercept can be very, very, very annoying. So I'm going to send this request. What happens when I send the request? I have a new balance of 1,016,000, which is insane because I only sent 800. But that doesn't matter to me. As far as I have my money, I'm okay. What I'm gonna do now is do 16,000. Send that again, see what we get. We have even a larger amount of money. Let's send this money minus 117,600. Let's see whether they tell us that our balance is insufficient. Send. It said 200, okay, that's already good. Wow, you look at this. And this gives us an idea of what we call race conditions. Right now, my account has 1 million in it. This is what we call race conditions. You are constantly sending multiple requests to the server, and the server is constantly accepting all of this. So I'm gonna collect this information, screenshot it, copy it, go back to my documentation and say, well, race condition accepted without authorization. Paste that in. And let me just zoom in so we can all be on the same page. We already have 1,008,000 in my account, in this Rejoice's account too, right? And over here, what we sent was a negative value, and then we have a higher value of what we had before. And obviously that's such a terrible thing. Because imagine if you open your bank today and you did, okay, well, I want to send minus 20,000 naira, 20,000 yen, $20,000 to somebody, and then you are able to actually send negative value. You're not sending it, you are getting the money, and your bank allows it. Well, you have found a beautiful thing that you can get money from. So, moving on, right? Still in the repeater. Let's go back to the repeater. Let's scroll up a bit. Over here. Let's see if we can get any more information from our proxy. Sorry. My intercept is off, so I'm just going to go back to our normal system. We have here that our transactions, we got our transaction information, because at the same time that all this money information is happening, we are getting transaction histories, right? Negative money, we're getting transaction histories. So what does that say about the information that is coming into our system? We're getting a get response. We're sending a get response request to the server, and that get request is going to get the transactions of this particular um, uh, account number. So what happens if I decide, okay, well, let me change the account number? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to forward this to my repeater. Send it to my repeater. My repeater has the information. I can send the request and get the exact same thing I got before. What did I get? My account number, the server time, the status, the same thing I would have gotten before. And not only did I get all of that, but I also got my transaction histories. And it includes my 4,000 that I did before, the 2,000 I did before, the 1,000 that I did before, all of these type of things, right? And I'm like, wow, this is so nice. Thank you very much. Let me go back to my requests. What if I changed this number over here to someone else's number? Because mind you, right now, this information that's being shown up is for, no, it's not for Rejoice. Why are they showing me Rejoice in both spaces? Let me reload both pages so I can see which one is really for Rejoice. There's admin over here. I'm sorry, I'm opening them in too many tabs, so the system is not really understanding which one exactly I want to do. So I'm going to do? I'm going to log out. Let's even fashion this repeater thing I'm doing. Let's go back to the proxy, right? Back to the proxy. Let's do it normally again. I'm going to log out. I'm going to sign in as Bleach, and Bleach's password was Naruto. Sign in. Okay, so Bleach has $1,000, right? This is his information. This is his account number. If I scroll down, I'll be able to see that I have information about Bleach, because if this account number over here is the same as this one, then we have it up here. So I'm gonna send this information about Bleach, because I want to use Bleach to do this. Send it to the repeater. The repeater gets this information. He said, okay, beautiful, I understand what's going on. You send the response. The response comes out as normal. There's no transaction history for now with Bleach. But if I open up a new tab, I don't know, should I? Yeah, let's open up a new tab and get someone else's account number. Let's get someone else's account number and just keep it saved somewhere so we can use it for more examples later. Right? I'm gonna get Rejoice's account number, please. Right? I'll just copy that. No thanks. Her money did reset, but it doesn't really matter. We'll copy that. We'll close this. Come back into our, our documentation portion of this whole class. Under the vulnerability exploits, we're going to say Rejoice with the password of praise, 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 has this as her account number, right? And we can keep other account numbers here, but I want to note this account number. Why? Because over here, I feel like if I change this account number to Rejoice's account number, I should be able to see her information. And just as I said, I am seeing her account information. Look at her account number. This is not my account number. Mind you, I'm using the same token. And what's a token? A token is the thing that identifies who you are in the system. But if that token doesn't genuinely care, or rather wasn't validated enough to let you know that yes, who you are should only be who you are. If that token is not specified to just you, that's this thing in red, if it's not specified to just you, if I change information up here, or I change other information around the site, maybe a username, and then the username was my username and I change it to your own username and then it's giving me your information, then we already know that is a vulnerability that can and will possibly be exploited. But yes, we changed the information. We are getting Rejoice's account balance, her description, her account, her ID number. Her ID number is 7. Okay, that's noted. Her account type, right? We're also even getting her account transactions, which we didn't get before, because with the Bleach accounts, we actually don't have any transactions available. So where are we getting the transaction from? Is from Rejoice. You know what I'm going to do from now? I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm going to leave this available, leave this transaction aspect of it available, and I'm going to scroll all the way back to the top so you can tell that this is Bleach's account with his own information. I'll click this, highlight all of that. And then there's this thing I like to do every now and again, where I'll just use some shapes to note out some things. Like this account number over here, this account number over here, this information over here, and this name. Oopsie. Sorry. Let me first do this one. And then this name, right? Copy all of this, paste it back in here. And what we're going to call this now is idle. What's idle? I mentioned idle earlier. Idle is insecure direct object reference. Paste. Sorry. I click F. Paste that. There's a new set of things that we've been able to get. Okay, beautiful. Mind you, how many things have we gotten now? This is, I think, 4. We have negative balance has been accepted. There's authentication vulnerable to SQL commands, right? We pasted an SQL command and we're able to get access into stuff like that. Race condition accepted without authorization. We are continuously doing a certain action that kept giving us more and more and more information. And now we have insecure direct reference objects. We just changed something to another thing and it's allowed us to, which it should not be able to. Now, at the beginning of this class, I was able to show you guys that there was a lot and a lot and a lot of other things that we can do. I don't know if it's still here. No, I took it out, right? But there's a lot of things that we can do. And we wouldn't be able to get through all of them today, but we would be able to, you know, take you through a few things. Let me see which other ones I can give you before the class is ending for the day. Okay. Going back to the authorization and authentication aspects of everything, because that's where you can find a lot of insider information, right? I'm going to go to my proxy again. Let me make sure that my intercept is off. It's off. HTTP history. Scroll down to the bottom. We're back in the login page as we see over here, right? Imagine if for one of those users that I decided, okay, well, I don't remember my password. Let's do forgot your password. Okay. From here, we're going to be able to find improper inventory manager. Let's put in any of our users. Currently, we have two users. We have Bleach and we have Rejoice. So let's use Rejoice. Rejoice. I think I spelled that properly. Let's request a reset pin. But then they said the reset pin has been sent to my email, right? Over here, I see a get, which is when I'm trying to get that whole email thing. I see a post. It gave me a username. Then I see a get again, right? This post is what's most interesting to me. Why is it most interesting to me? Because I think I can tweak the information that was sent to them. The only problem is, if you remember when we tried to get it in the first place, I don't know as well. Okay, it's in the third place, right? No, it's in second, third. It's in the response, sorry. The response of the post. It said it has been sent to your email. However, we never put in an email anywhere, right? So which email are you actually even sending information to? That's my question to them. But I don't care to ask that question. Why don't I care to ask that question? Because I'm an attacker. And all my own is, what can I use to exploit this information? I'm going to make this real big in a second. And what am I going to do? I'm going to come here into any of the white space and send this into our repeater. Again, repeater is just to continuously send information to Burp Suite. Burp Suite doesn't send the information directly to the system at once, but it allows you to continuously change the information, tweak it, make it better. And if you fail one time, you try again. That's one thing about penetration testing. You will fail a lot of times, but you would also be able to rise above the failure very quickly. So let's send this information from our repeater and see what we get. So when we send it, say it has been sent to our to our email, but I don't have an email. What I want to do now is to come over here to this intro part, right? Most of people would overlook it. And I see that there's an API version 3. And version 3 gives me this understanding that, oh, if there's a version 3, that means there's a version 2. And if there's a version 2, that means there's a version 1. So why don't I change that version 3 to version 2? Let's see what happens if I send that information. Let's see what comes up. Okay, I'm seeing debug info. What happens if I change that version 2 to version 1? Oh, and then I see more information than I had seen before. Because in the version 2 and in the version 3, I didn't see a pin and I didn't see a pin length, right? If in the version 2, I saw a pin length that was 3, then it makes my work very, very, very easy. You understand? Because all I have to do is just scan through every 3-digit number that exists in the possible human numeric, digits. But being that now what I'm seeing is an actual 3-digit pin, why don't I copy that and see what happens if I paste it back into my system? Mind you, over here was a version 3 before, and now I've kept it as a version 1. And that's the thing with versions. You update them for a reason. The first version might not have been the best version to use, so you made it a higher version. The second version might still not have been the best, so you made it a higher version. But with a lot of systems, you need to inform your security defenders and the people who are working on the system, the developers, that look, the systems that you are no longer using, cancel them out. They are now legacy systems, especially if they don't have any usefulness in the system, because those legacy systems could provide exploits for those who are trying to attack the system. They will just change it from the current version you are on to a different version, just as simply as I did. I just changed 2 to 3, sorry, 3 to 2, and 2 to 1. As simply as that. And now, let's see what happens. We were using rejoice before, right? REJOICE. We paste in that digits pin. Mind you, there's a 4-digit pin and it's 3 digits I'm putting in. And let's put a new password. And actually, I'm going to put a new password as, let me see, watch. WATCH. Let me make sure I spelled that properly. WATCH. Requests. No. That's not what you said. Swear there. 4-digit reset pin. But you are collecting 3 digits. What do you mean by that? 5 97. I'm not matching your formats. I'm doing what I want to. Back to sign in. Let's do this again. Send that again. 57. I'm not answering you people. Okay. Forget your password. Hope I turned off my intruder. Search intruder. Proxy. Let's have this off. HTTP history. From version 3, change it. Went to my repeater. Change to version 1. Let's go back to proxy. Send the information is there. New choice. Send the request pin. Request pin sent to email. Whatever. Send that. Send this to my repeater. From my repeater. This information has been there. Send it over here. Back up. Version 2. Send that again. Version 1. Send that again. Debugging information. Choice. I'm just going to say hello as the password. Set the password. So for some reason now it's telling me to match the requested format. However, the pin length over here is 3. Okay. I'm gonna bypass this. This is annoying me. So I'm gonna bypass this. 4 digits. Oh, time is already not on our side anymore. 4 digits reset pin. But it's a 3 pin length. What are you saying? Lord Jesus Christ. Let me try and see if I can do something. I really want to bypass this thing so bad. Pin. Let's see whether this works. One, 2, 3, 4. Send. Okay. Comma. Okay, they do have a filtering for that. Wonder about requests. They wouldn't allow me to do that. I'm not entirely understanding why they wouldn't allow me with the 4 digits reset pin, even though they said the reset pin is 3, and now it's 820. Control C. Control. If this doesn't work one more time, I'm just going to go for a different exploit, honestly. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with a different exploit because this is honestly giving me a bit of a hard time. But yeah. There are a lot more things to do with this Von Hub, and if I wanted to just even do them very technically and very, properly, it might take a lot more than just 3 hours, or rather 2 hours, because we spend the first hour or so with our, slides and everything, and just speaking about the issues that we could have. But let me see, what else can I do right before we're able to close out the class, because this is giving me a hard time, so I'm just going to leave it alone for now. Right? I'm going to create a new account. Let's see. But I'm going to intercept it and change some information. Let's create a new account. Let's call this account David. No. Let's name this account Bruce. Bruce and Wayne. Write that again. So I made sure I got it well. Wayne. Yeah. Create the account. Oh, the intercept was off. Well, I have to create a new account. Clark. Kent. Sign in. Okay. Information comes up here. I'm gonna forward that information. Right? Turn off my intercept. Go back to our HTTP history. Get the information over here. We have our Clark Kent. Send it to the repeater. There's a lot I can do over here now. With the repeater now, let's send the request and see what kind of information we get. Invalid credentials as how. Clark Kent. Login. Oh, we're in the login page. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's do it again. Create Clark Kent. Clark Kent. No. Clark Kent. Create account. Gonna send us to the login page. Can you please send me to the login page real quick? This is the last thing I have to do before the class ends. Come here. We do Clark. I can close this out actually because it didn't go out well. Go back to my proxy. Clark Kent. Clark Kent. I want to intercept it. Turn on my intercept. Okay, sign into that. Now, as soon as I sign in, I'm just gonna send it to my repeater. Forget the fact that my intercept is still on. Over here now, I'm gonna send this request and see what I get as a response. I get 200 okay, right? But then I get all this information. I get my account number. My account number is 07 something something. My account number is this. My admin is equals to false, right? The message is login successful though, and then this is my token. And then apart from that, I think I also have my balance somewhere. Do I have a balance? They give me a balance? No, they don't. But regardless, I think if I came here and put a comma and then changed the information of, is underscore admin to be true, I think that should give me a different info. Because I see 200 okay here, it's still false. This is done. Okay. Did I spell it properly? I might have made a mistake somewhere. But typically this should give me something. So I'm very sure that I'm the one that made a mistake somewhere. The only thing is, with this Vuln Hub, there are lots of exploits to go through. And honestly, if I sat down to really do it properly and, with as less stress as it's already been giving me throughout this class, I should be able to get a lot more insider information, which I had already even gotten in previous lessons, which is why it's really annoying me that a lot of these things are not coming out as I want to be able to show it to you. But I want you to be able to go through Vuln Hub and see what else again you can be able to try out. And even the things that I had tried and didn't work out fully as I would have liked it to, I want you to still try it out and see whether you can find out the errors I had made or even new vulnerabilities that are available in this bank. Because honestly, time is beyond me right now to be able to debug the issues that I had written and debug the issues that the system has. I have a feeling that some of these errors that I am having is because the system has been updated in recent times, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so thank you all for joining our class today. Really appreciate it. Once again, please thank you all for joining our class today. Please like our page, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to comment down what you had been able to learn about web exploitation, or just things that you had been able to find out from Vonbank on your own, even without the class. We will be sending Monday's classes exploitation as well as today's exploitation. So it's lovely to see you once again. Bye.